defensive lineman for the Texans.
Tommy Townsend? The punter? You think he's going to have a lot of special teams tackles? Tommy
Togiai, Togiai, their interior defensive tackle. He has been playing a little bit more of late. They actually had a couple of injuries in the interior of the defensive line in like weeks 14, 15 or so. So you've seen his spike rate or his snap rate spike a little bit. And New England actually runs a lot like off guard. So a lot of their runs are to the interior. They are actually one of the better matchups for really good run stopping interior defensive tackles. And that's who Togiai is. So I have him projected for about 5.2 tackles and assists here. And I'm seeing underdog at a little bit over juiced 3.5, but with a 5.2 projection, I'm okay with that. So we'll add Tommy T to the slip.
Pat Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, powered by Underdog, the NFL Divisional Round prop draft. Each game, 4 props, and we'll even make them into underdog entries and same game parlays after the fact. If you're here for the first time, sub to Mayo Media Network. Turn on them notifications in case we go live, which we do sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes we do that. But smash the like while you're here and give me your favorite prop. Hell, if you got like a prop for favorite game, dump that into the comment section. I might make another underdog entry out of that. But the key thing to know, 2 things. You hit the description right now. There is still a chance to get into the Underdog Pick'em giveaway for $5,000. If you missed week 1, maybe that puts you a little bit behind, but as long as you have 40 picks throughout the next 3 rounds of the playoffs at Underdog, just join that Google form, boom, you can be in that giveaway. If you're playing Pick'em anyway, you may as well. If you want to get in, you can use code MAYO. If you play a $5 Pick'em entry, you instantly get $75 in bonus funds. You can play the entire playoffs with that in the pool and maybe parlay that $5 into $1,500, which is first prize. There's also weekly prizes. You need 10 picks per week in order to do that. The leaderboard after week 1 is also down in the description right now, so check it out. From betsperts.com, Connor Allen, Ryan Noonan, the kings of the prop draft. You guys both beat me throughout the course of the season. I was last. I'm last in everything that I've done this year. It's been a bad football year for me, so I have to bring on people who actually know what's going on.
I mean, at least you're bringing on people that know what's going on, winning the listeners' money. It's been a good year, honestly. I'm not going to lie. We brought some bangers to the show. I think Noonan's tackle props killed it, and I had some good juicy unders that came through here. And
you're still crossing your fingers, Noonan. You got that guy on the Browns at 60-1 to win Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, covered that market pretty extensively. Well positioned. The subscribers the preseason. I mean, I bet on the Schlesinger tickets from April, so it's like immediately after the draft when it became pretty clear that he was going to be the guy there. But we had James Pierce Jr. too, like 19-1. So subscribers should be mostly covered there. Excited for that one. Going to Pinehurst in March, Pat. So I need that Schlesinger money ASAP. As you know, you went last year. It's not a cheap few days, so I need that Schlesinger money for sure.
Yeah, it's not super cheap. Hopefully you got like the voucher program, so you're not paying for meals or anything like that the entire time.
That's correct. Yeah, staying on property, all inclusive, all that stuff. Yeah, but still a pretty penny. So yeah. Come on, Schlesinger, let's get home, buddy.
Yeah, so you gave it out on the show, and we did the preseason best future bets you could make. That was, I believe, your gold pick. So hopefully some of the viewers tailed along with that. Plus, you're going to have tackle props over the weekend as well once they're released.
I found out 3 minutes ago that they're on Underdog already. So I'm not prepared. I will give you some tackle props for you to share before we release the subscribers.
Hit me right now. Hit me right now with some tackle props on Underdog that you've seen.
I'm not prepared. So I'm saying I just saw that they were out. So I haven't gone through it all yet. But I will give them to you so you can get a slip out to people. Subscribers will get those first. We will move them. So you want to join us over at 4 for 4. But yeah, I see that Underdog is it's a great place to be. They're ahead of the game. They're out early. Only some of the softest books have had some stuff out. So good on Underdog. I'm excited here.
So hopefully if you get those to me in time, I'll include them in the NFL weekly cheat sheet. That should come out on Friday evening once we get the Friday practice reports for some of these games. I'll have that out. It'll have the spread picks, the best bets, the results of our prop draft today. Plus, there could be some extra tackle props in there for people as well. That's been printing all year long. Let's get to it. Buffalo and Denver. is the first game up. The first game we're going to see this weekend. If you want to go time code wise, because you are tuning in like halfway through that game and you want props for the other game, easy stuff. Just hit those time codes. Leave a rating and review on the audio podcast as well, Spotify and Apple. We're top 5 everywhere in the world right now, and a few ratings and reviews could really push that over the hump. I will lead off. I actually love this game the most for the props, and I am going to go. Let me find out what the best number is here for RJ Harvey, because I don't think that Sean Payton is going to go full Liam Cohen and be like, man, we can jam the ball down these guys' throats. So what we're going to do is pass as often as possible. Now, maybe short passes from Denver, but I just envision a lot of running in this game. I don't think that the Bills can stop it. So RJ Harvey in this game, the best number you can find at the moment is 53.5. So I will take the 53.5. I would play it up to 60, honestly. I think he's going to be your full-time bell cow here. So RJ Harvey over 53.5 rushing yards in this game against the Bills. Now, Connor, whenever I go in on RJ Harvey like this, it's going to be like, oh yeah, we're actually going to use Bidet or Jaleel McLaughlin half the time. I hope that's not the case.
Well, which is hilarious because my play is Jaleel McLaughlin, longest rush, over 8.5 yards, partially because of, a lot of the same reasons you talked about. But one of the biggest things was that the Bills are one of the worst teams allowing runs outside the tackles, 5.7 yards per carry to opposing running backs this year. Jaleel has just been much better on those runs than Harvey, 5.1 yards per carry versus 3 yards per carry. Now, I still think that Harvey's going to see plenty of work. Bills at Oliver, defensive tackle might be missing. So, they could probably just get beat anyway, anywhere. So, I don't know if outside the tackles really matters that much for a total rushing prop. But for a longest rushing prop, 8.5 is nothing. And he's probably going to he's gotten 5 to 7 carries the last 2 weeks. I think that's probably about right. Not going to see a massive workload, but I like the Harvey overs. I like Jaleel overs, longest rush. And then we did play 18.5. It's up to 21.5. I think it's kind of getting out of range there because when you're looking at 5 to 7 carries, each carry is a massive deal here.
And Noonan, even on the best bet show that I gave out Bo Nix over 10.5 rushing yards in the first half is one of my props too. I envision a lot of running in this game for me, both teams, honestly. We lost Noonan's audio. Audio, you're muted there, pal.
I was coughing. No, I was saying that's a professional segment there, Pat, because my play is Bo Nix over 23.5 rushing yards.
Wow.
So we're very much in the same mindset, but the Bills actually have allowed 9.1 yards per scramble this season. It's 31st in the league. They are dead last in yards per carry on design quarterback runs at 5.3. We've had at least three design runs in each of the past 3 games from Bo Nix. They met in the playoffs last year. Payton went really run heavy. Nix ran 4 times for 43 yards. Each of those runs going for at least 8 yards. Our market-based projections at SharpStack have Nix for 5.1 attempts here. I think we probably are pretty safe if we get 3 or 4 here. So you can play longest rush, but 23.5, 24.5 for Bo Nix rushing yards, I like quite a bit.
22.5 is the number that I will give you because that is the number that's posted up at Underdog right now. Here's the issue, because SharpStack is the other one going through this right now that's going to be making picks. We're going to be picking against the computer with all of this, and it's a great time to get in on SharpStack right now. There's still the $10 deal on the table, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Mayo
NFL playoffs.
Yeah, Mayo NFL playoffs will get you an entire month for $10 at 4for4.com/Mayo right now. Promo code Mayo NFL playoffs, and that would include the DFS optimizer, the Discord, and all those tools too, wouldn't it?
Yep, everything at 4for4. Yep, it's a great time.
Yeah, so if you plan on betting on the NFL playoffs, plus SharpStack gets you all the sports too. If you want to get some midweek NBA on the go, there's a prop screen for PGA. It's all there, 4for4.com/Mayo. Code Mayo NFL playoffs will get you that $10 for the month. And what's it usually per month? $100 or something?
Yeah, 129.
Yeah, so yeah, big savings if you go do that right now. SharpStack, and usually for NFL, if you see an over on SharpStack, Connor, that's usually a green light, right?
Yeah, we skew heavily towards under. So if you see an over, it's usually a really good sign. What are you seeing right now?
The number 1 rated play on the board is from this game, and it is an over. It is little Jordan Humphrey over half a catch in this game against the Buffalo Bills. He was blanked in week 18 against the Los Angeles Chargers, but he still did run 23% of the routes with the full complement of players. I'm going to throw it on the underdog slip that we're playing right now.
Every time we think we know what's going on with the Sean Payton offense in terms of like, especially receivers, we don't, because now Jordan Humphrey's going to catch like 4 balls in this game. Like, and Pat Bryant's going to not play that much, or Marvin Mims is going to run like 15% of the routes. Something weird is going to happen. So I think this is a perfect way to lean into that, because even if he does run the same amount of routes, he's probably going to catch a ball.
Well, with everyone back in week 18, he was the lowest on the pecking order with 27% of the routes. Cortland Sutton played almost 80%. Marvin Mims was around 32. Pat Bryant was around 66. Troy Franklin was around 42. Pat Bryant, longest reception, I don't think is a terrible look either, because that's usually the market where he hits it.
What number are we seeing for that? I like that.
You know what? I have not efforted that. Let's see.
Let's see here. 17.5, 16.5 best number is what I'm seeing. Actually, no, 15.5 if you shop around here. So it's getting better and better.
15 and a half on underdog. So I have 5 picks for our Buffalo Bills, Denver Broncos. Unfortunately, they're all from the Broncos. So on underdog, you need at least one player from any other team on the board. Is there any part of this Bills game that you do like?
Noonan, you got a tackle prop or anything like that with Poyer out, or is that not even posted? Because I don't have much offensively, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not a tackle-rich game.
Let's try to talk this through. From the Bills side, what happens here? If we expect a lot of running, maybe it's James Cook rushing yards, maybe it's James Cook touchdown, Josh Allen anytime touchdown, I think is always a good look for the Bills. But the one weak spot that you can find on the Denver defense are through tight ends. Now you're putting your faith in either Kincaid or Dawson Knox to hit an over on their part, or you could just go like Keon Coleman under yardage. Like that's another one you could.
Yeah, I like Keon Coleman receptions under. I mean, plus money. It's like 1.5. I don't think he sees 2 targets. If he does, highly unlikely to catch both of them unless he's wide open, like he was last time. I mean, he basically has been benched. They're going to use him as little as possible. I do think they go, it's like a lot more 2 tight end sets here, try and avoid Surtain, I guess, like as much as possible. So I don't know. I think Keon unders, maybe Kincaid or Dawson Knox overs, but I don't know which one, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you have a particular lean on that, Noonan?
Probably Dawson Knox, because the bar is going to be lower to get over. Someone who was on the Kincaid roller coaster last week, just desperate to see him on the field. They put him back in a walking boot after the game. They're saying he's okay. They let him play a ton in week 18, the meaningless game. So I just don't think he's fully healthy. It is the weakness a little bit. If you were to attack this Denver secondary or defense, I mean, clearly Shakir's going to get peppered with that many targets. I feel like his reception number is probably of interest too. Also, like you could sell me a little bit on James Cook attempts, even though he might not have a ton of success. Like if you're kind of pro Bills or you're pro 4 quarters of a neutral game script, he probably gets 17, 18 attempts. And I think that's where his number is hovering, but none of those feel like they are, have enough margin or enough meat to bet necessarily.
What about Josh Allen rushing yards?
Yeah, it's always pretty low. I mean, Denver's been really good slowing that down this season, but they also haven't really played against a bunch of running quarterbacks. And a couple of times that they've had guys run or willing runners that have had some success. So, either the longest rush for him too, or is it like 36.5, 35.5? He's in that mix.
So
I don't hate that.
It's up to 37.5 for him, but longest rush is 13.5.
Yeah. I like the one-time pop a little bit more.
They let up 55 to Mariota, 69 to Trey Lance with the backups, if you want to count that. Well, I guess no, they were playing full. So there you go. But it took him a little while to turn it on. Justin Fields had 7 for 31. Dak had 6 for 31. So yes, they have been good against quarterbacks, but I think to Noonan's point, like the sample of quarterbacks that they played, I don't know if that's really viable. Jalen Hurts, who like basically didn't really run this year for one reason or another. He got Patulo'd, I guess. So I don't know. I think the over rushing makes sense. Like I think Josh Allen might just go Superman again and carry the team. 11 carries last week, always runs a ton in the playoffs.
Josh Allen, anytime touchdowns, even money.
Yeah, I hate it. Anytime touchdown bets, like never make them. But when he scores, I'm always like, should have had that somewhere. I feel like because it's feel like he's the weapon down there for them for sure.
Yeah, all the money that I won on Jalen Hurts anytime touchdowns, basically at like minus 110 over the course of the last 2 years, I think I gave back on Jalen Hurts anytime touchdowns this season.
Yeah, I like Patullo as a verb. I think that's a really good way to describe it, Connor.
Yeah, he got Patullo'd. I mean, his buddy Nick Sirianni, his buddy had to get out of town. Who knows what happens with AJ Brown? You know, maybe a big reset for the Eagles coming. They got a lot of good players, but they got to make some changes. When Philly has basically negative patience for any team or any sports team being bad, especially the Eagles, even after winning the Super Bowl less than a year ago at this point.
So let's go with Keon Coleman lower than 1.5. The official plays for me are RJ Harvey over 53.5, and I'll recap this all towards the end once we finalize our picks for each of the game. Over 53.5 rushing yards. Bo Nix for Noonan over 22.5 rushing yards. Longest rush over 8.5 for Jaleel McLaughlin for Connor, and then the Sharp Stack system code Mayo NFL Playoffs at 4for4.com. Get you that discount. Likes over 0.5 receptions for little Jordan Humphrey. We put all of those in along with Pat Bryant and Keon Coleman under 1.5 catches at plus money here. I use my 50% boost on Underdog. That pays 44.3 to 1. That's not bad. Let's do that. That pays 20 on $50. That pays $2,200. So that's the way that we're going for game number 1. Now, Sharp Stack gets to lead things off with the San Francisco and Seattle game. But before we start on that, Cross is expected to be back at left tackle, and the passing splits for Seattle, who missed the Week 18 game against San Francisco, but they've just been so much more hyper efficient through the passing game when he has been on the field. So that's a big boost for that offense. But Noonan, Sam Darnold's on the injury report now.
Yeah, I don't think that they really want Sam Darnold to be heavily involved in this game. They didn't need him a ton in Week 18, so I think that not that they're trying to hide their quarterback, but I don't think that they need to lean on him a ton here to get it done. So I think Seattle's in trouble if they need 35 dropbacks from Sam Darnold in this spot. So offensive line's getting healthy. They bullied the Niners in Week 18 in a big way, and I think that's going to probably happen again.
I can envision that. We were talking pre-show, Connor, about what the actual odds of Darnold missing this game are. You said that there's like a 0% chance. I said there's like a 5% chance. That makes sense to me. Although we did see this was the Daniel Jones effect when he got injured in practice with that fibula injury. And then every time he had questionable fibula next to his name, he kind of sucked for the rest of the season. I wonder if that's going to be the case with Darnold, parentheses, oblique, the rest of the season.
It sounds ridiculous, but I didn't even know really where the oblique was. It turns out it's your abdomen. So, that's a self-admittance there.
Sounds like you're a real athlete there, Connor.
Yeah, well,
you play college sports. You don't know where your obliques are?
No, all I knew is what hurt, and usually lower body. You shouldn't
have shared this. This is not your best look. You should not have shared this. I appreciate your honesty and transparency here, but this is not becoming.
Noonan, our field does not require much medicine and looking into bodily parts here. If you tell me your oblique hurts, I'd say congrats, go see a doctor. That's just not my problem. Anyways, he'll be fine. I'm pretty confident he'll be fine. If he's not fine, he's still going to play anyways, because that's what NFL players do. They play through the pain, unless you are Lane Johnson or someone on the Eagles that doesn't really want to play. So I think he's going to play. He might suck, though. That's all. The other option is that he might just stink because he seems to in a lot of big moments throughout his career. And so that would not be surprising to me at all. Oblique or not oblique, the mysterious body part. I think he'll figure it out.
Well, Sharp Stack Noonan enjoys the San Francisco side of this game with its top prop. It is Juwan Jennings under 44.5 receiving yards. That would be the official pick of the Sharp Stack system.
Uh-oh.
That was my play. Well, that sucks, but that's okay. I got another one. So Sharp Stack new.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to go with the other one to be Kyle Juszczyk over 14.5 receiving yards. They use him a ton whenever they're in the playoffs. Last 3 playoff games at this point, he has like 40, 30, and 30 receiving yards. He ran a bunch of routes last week as well. And I mean, now without George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall's banged up and coming back. Juwan Jennings has just been out there. Jake Tonges is like probably going to get a lot of love here, but I think that they use more Juszczyk here and kind of that check down role. And we saw that with CMC, like they let up a lot of yards to running backs. I think Seattle lost some of the most receptions to running backs. I think a lot of it will be CMC, but Juszczyk runs kind of some of the same routes from time to time, runs those little Texas routes and check down stuff, and is a good dump off option. So I think he sees 2 to 3 receptions here. Over 1.5 receptions, I don't think is a bad look either, but occasionally he's good for a long one. So I think both the yards of 14.5 and over 1.5 receptions are good.
14.5 is -110 on both sides right now, Noonan, and the over 1.5 reception has been juiced to the tits. So I'll take the over on the receiving yards if I'm going to play that.
Yeah, I like it. I actually have it on my list here. I saw late last night. I think maybe it took some action on the reception numbers. I was going to ask Connor his thoughts on the receptions, but I didn't know that it got juiced out a little bit. Yeah, I like the play. I mean, he's going to be involved. He was actually involved a little bit even in week 1 when they were kind of full strength and healthy. So he had a little stretch there in the middle when Kittle went out. So I think it correlates with Kittle. The combination of both tight ends and running backs against Seattle have kind of been one of their weaknesses as well. And so where he lines up is oftentimes it's just kind of like, a little bit behind the line too, like almost like a hybrid tight end. So don't hate that look at all.
Do we worry that a lot of his usage last week was just because of the in-game injury to Kittle and they felt more comfortable with him in the playbook rather than throwing both Tonjes and Farrell out there to play that hybrid tight end role? And you mentioned Ricky Purcell. He might end up being back for this game, that all of a sudden you just see his snap share just tank. Like, is that on the table here?
Totally, for sure. I think that is definitely on the table to some extent, but I still think that given like the injuries that he's still going to play a lot. It just might not look the same as last week. I think obviously there was some impact of like mid-game injury. All right, we'll just throw Juszczyk out to do whatever we need. Now you get a week to prepare. I think it'll just look different. They'll have probably 1 or 2 plays designed for him to some extent, but maybe just not as many routes total. So it's kind of a give and take, I think.
His total routes, though, were kind of in line with where they were early in the season when Kittle was out. So it wasn't like an insane spike. I agree that it's on the table. It's probably how the bet loses, is just his route participation dips. But I don't think like last week, if you look at the numbers, we didn't see a crazy spike in his workload and his route participation. So I don't know, at 14.5, I mean, catch 2 balls and I feel like you're probably okay.
Do you like either of those guys, Tonjes or Juszczyk, for first touchdown or anytime touchdown?
I think both those are fun. I think they're both good options. Tonjes was great when he filled in for Kittle last time. Maybe not great. He was a more than serviceable, I would say. Like, he was an above average option.
Juszczyk right now is 40-1 for first touchdown.
Sign me up. I mean, they love Juszczyk too. So I mean, designed Juszczyk run, power out of the backfield. It's going to be incredible. It'll be great.
So I am going to the Seattle side of the ball for my top prop in this game. And if you are in Canada outside of Ontario, you can go to coolbet.com. I have a boosted 4-player prop parlay up there right now that features Knicks, RJ Harvey, and this one, which is Kenneth Walker, higher. 14.5 longest rush in this game. The more we get deeper into the playoffs, the more we're going to see Walker utilized between the 20s. Then we see Charbonnet come into the game, and he ends up scoring the touchdown from the 1-yard line. I'm unconcerned about that. Give me more carries from their own 30-yard line for Kenneth Walker. We saw Barkley break one out just every single week, Connor. The San Francisco defense tries to bend but not break, but they do give up some chunk yardage out of the backfield.
Oh, yeah. They're just beat up right now at this point. Like they're on their like second to third, fourth string, linebackers, defensive linemen, like their corners are okay. The fact that Robert Saleh has made do with what he has so far, and his like splits when he was and was not a Jets coach a couple of years ago is just like so much proof that he deserves to be head coach again and is like a legit fantastic defensive coach. The problem is like when you run out of talent, eventually like the chickens come home to roost. There's only so much you can do when you just don't have guys anymore. Like you lost like half of your defense.
Noonan, are you buying Fred Warner coming back maybe for this game? I don't think it's going to happen.
Practice clips look significantly better than I was expecting. The talk a couple weeks ago was that perhaps like an NFC Championship game would be the play if they were around still. Very surprised by how well their linebackers played last week against Philly. Again, we are on, literally linebackers 5 and 6. Grant Wallow had 11 tackles I did not know who Grant Waller was until about an hour and a half before the game, that he was actually going to get the start when D Winters was out. And I know these things. I spent a lot of time over here. So it's kind of crazy. I would like to see him back. I think it's just kind of one of those, Willis Reed type situations. We got just the vibes are so high when we get our captain back on the field. They're going to need it here. But I don't know how. I'm surprised. Like I said, have you seen the clips? Like, he's moving around. He looks like he's okay. It doesn't look like that dude's foot was sideways like 90 days ago. I don't know. It's crazy.
He was not wearing gear yesterday at practice. That would throw me off of listen, maybe he gives it a go. We've seen if anyone's going to do it, it would be a veteran type player who just doesn't need to practice throughout the week. Although this could be a conditioning thing. This could be a pain tolerance type of thing. And even if he's out there, it's very doubtful he would be at full strength.
Yeah, for sure. It's insane. We're very succinct this morning, Pat, because it looks like mine it cooked a little bit outside of our range. So I'm gonna have to go to throwing a challenge flag for the official scoring. But I'm on Kenneth Walker over 12.5 rushing attempts. Like I said, I think the offensive line can bully them again. I think he's heavily involved. We only have one game all season long. It's that weird Colts game against Phillip Rivers where Seattle was favored by more than a field goal and Walker went under this number. Otherwise, he was consistently in like the 16 to 17 attempt range. So I think he's heavily involved. Charbonnet is like 11.5. I think that's fine as well. But I think there should be probably a little bit bigger of a gap between the two. I know Charbonnet handled a pretty decent workload week 18 the last time they played against San Francisco, but 12.5 for Kenneth Walker, I think, is a great look.
Cam gave out Charbonnet anytime touchdown as well. That is even money. And I don't hate that look at all.
Yeah, they seem to go there more so than Walker when they get inside the 5. I definitely get that.
So let's throw an underdog entry on the table here, Connor. Tell me what you think about this. Jennings under, it's 40.5 receiving yards at underdog right now. So we'll have to take the lower on that. Kyle Juszczyk higher than 15.5 receiving yards. Kenneth Walker higher than 16.5 longest rush. Kenneth Walker higher than 13.5 rushing attempts. That's at plus money right now. And what's the other one on that? Yeah, we can get down to 11.5. That hurts our overall total. That's okay. Let's do that. Higher than 11.5. And we'll go to, let's see, get rid of that rushing attempts one. And Zach Charbonnet anytime touchdown. No, that doesn't pay well at all. We were doing well. Now we're not doing well. Let's see here. What are we missing? Oh yeah,
did we get docked with the double Kenneth?
We didn't know. Let's see. Let's go back to longest rush. I somehow took that off the table. There we go. We're at 23 to 1. So $50 pays $11.45. That's not bad.
That sounds pretty good to me. I mean, that's a solid day's work right there.
Yeah. I like when there's a comma. Feel good about it.
Yeah, I always feel good with the comma whenever you can see those payouts. There's a lot of 50% boosts right now. And if you use code Mayo, you get a free pick on some of these as well.
The 2 to 4 figures is the goal. It's got to be you got to add 2 extra zeros. So if you start at 3, it's got to be at least 5. Those are the rules. I don't make them. Just telling you.
Eat better. Train smarter. Maybe stop pretending frozen mystery meat is good enough. And honestly, starting strong is the easiest way when the food doesn't suck to get yourself ready to start the new year. That's where Omaha Steaks comes in. Premium, perfectly portioned protein shipped straight to my door. No guessing, no waste, just legit quality that actually fuels what you're trying to do. I loaded up on their USDA certified tender steaks and gourmet burgers, threw a couple fillets on the grill, which is out my back door, and there's not that much snow, so I can access it pretty easily. Salt, pepper, done, instantly tender. Way more flavor, better texture, zero stress compared to anything I've really cooked before. Let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality proteins right to your door. Visit omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code MAYO at checkout. That's OMAHA steaks.com, promo code MAYO. Terms apply. See site for details. Let's go back to how are you feeling about the over 13.5 rushing attempts versus the 11.5? Obviously, 11.5 is better, but you're paying significant juice. You think you can get to 14 carries, Noonan?
Yeah, I think he can get to 14 carries.
Right,
what did he have? 16 last time. Again, he's been consistently going over this when they've been, either win by a lot or, ahead of the game. They were favored by more than a field goal when I went through yesterday. So, yeah, I think I think he's probably in that 14 to 15 range, to be honest.
All right, so that gives us 21.2 to 1 on our money. So 50 pays just over 1,000 on that. We'll throw that one in. I did want to talk to you guys about John Harbaugh, though. We missed it on the Thursday show because the news had not broken yet in time for us to cover that. What do you guys make of him going back and re-signing a 5-year, $100 million deal with the New York Giants?
I mean, the Giants are going to be good. This is like they have the core. They have Jackson Dart. They have, Scadaboo's. I don't know if he's really that good of a player, but he's fun to watch. Malik Neighbors is awesome. We got to see basically no Malik Neighbors, Jackson Dart stuff. They have a decent amount of good, ancillary options, I think, on the receiving core as well. They obviously have some holes, but their defensive line is an absolute wagon with the kind of the trio of guys they have there. So yeah, they need help in the secondary. They need a little bit of help on the offensive line, but you bring in some good coaching, and I think that they are a legit team that can win, 8-9+ games immediately.
Yeah.
Noonan,
and you have a last place schedule,
Yeah.
which is a huge piece of that puzzle too, right? This is how we see these transformations go when you have, that fourth to first situation or, into the playoffs. Questions in the division, obviously that helps as well. I mean, I think it's definitely trending up, bringing, the OC as well with Tom Munkin. I think that helps. So a lot of growth. I mean, Abdul Carter was awesome this year. Definitely a guy that like the counting stats didn't show as well as he played. When you look at pressure rates, quick pressure rates, he played significantly better as the season got along, got more comfortable too. So yeah, they could have a pretty quick turnaround here for sure.
So basically they're going to be the Patriots of next year.
Yeah, it's a great comp.
Even down to the second year leap, rookie quarterback taking a second year leap, if Dart can fade concussions.
That's a big if.
Yeah.
Big if.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Tough for him.
Yeah.
Houston and New England is the next game up. I'll lead this one off. One that I really like in this game, we saw with the return of all their guys defensively that it became very difficult to run on the Patriots. Again, you know that the Texans are going to want to, but this is not the Steelers defense. This is the Patriots defense. You can beat them through the air. You cannot beat them as well on the ground, although no Nico Collins for the Texans offense. That's almost a certainty at this point. And Christian Gonzalez looks like he will play for the Patriots. So a nice boost for the defense against the pass as well. But I really like Woody Marks under 57.5 rushing yards in this game.
That hurts my heart because I absolutely love it. That was like, that was my favorite play. This is twice in a row now, 2 games in a row that sharp sack. And then you are taking the plays. Cause I absolutely love it. I mean, it's such a, like, I actually told Noonan on last week's show, I was like, I hope that Woody Marks goes nuts in this game. So that way, when he plays the Patriots, we get a line above 50 because he's been so inefficient all year. And then one game where he plays well against a Russian run defense that has let up a ton of big plays and hasn't been all that good consistently. Now he's getting like a really, really tough matchup. They've been so bad offensively. Like this is just like a prime sell high spot.
It's my pick, so that's the one going on the books for me. Minus 110, under 57.5 rushing yards. That's also the final piece of that coolbet.com PME boost. It's the 4-prop parlay. It pays 13.75 to 1. We won the 6.5 last week with 3 picks. It was like 3 picks too easy, Noonan. Let's go to 4 picks for some more money here.
I love it. Connor's like, sharing his heart and you're just like, suck it, Connor. That's my play. Tough shit.
I don't blame him.
No, it's great. It's a really good look. Yeah. We did our Monday show before the Monday night Houston and Pittsburgh game. And yeah, Connor was already chomping at the bit to get Woody Marks under. So it's a good look.
I got another one though. You know what? We got some opportunity here because Nico Collins is going to be out. So I would anticipate whenever that happens, the market on Jaden Higgins is going to go up a good bit. So we're at 37.5. I mean, he's already kind of baked in a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see a number over 40. I still like the under. I think if Christian Gonzalez is playing, I think the under on this is pretty interesting. I kind of think that the Pats largely shut down the Texans here. Also, it became the Christian Kirk show with Nico Collins. And so I think we're still going to see a ton of Xavier Hutchinson. We're still going to see a lot of Christian Kirk. Probably the tight ends get involved here. I think Dalton Schultz is going to be involved. So yes, Jaden Higgins had a nice rookie year, but now he's playing the big boys. He's playing against someone tough, and I don't think that he's going to get a ton of run here. And his line just inflated a lot after Nico's out.
Yeah, so right now it's 38.5 is the top number in the market, Noonan, that you can find. So under 38.5 for Connor. Do you like it?
I'm just fascinated by the train of thought, because like the way that you hear 90% of the people that do this, like, oh yeah, we got Nico's out, so we can take advantage of like banging some overs on the other guys because they're going to get boosted up, and Connor's waiting for the market to get so inflated that he can come back on the other side and take an under on a high upside rookie. So I love it. I want his brain to be studied. Why does he think that way? Why does he not know what an oblique is? I think this is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, you could even do something like if you wanted to fake, because 3.5 receptions for him right now as well. Like you could even do the classic over yardage under receptions and just pray that he gets behind the defense once, because they will be taking that shot. Overall, I'm with you on the under of 38.5 though, Connor. Noonan, what do you got?
I'm going to stay in the same lane as I did to start with our Bo Nix. I think you could play longest here, but I'm just going to play Drake May over 34.5 rushing yards. It's kind of the only weakness of Houston. They tend to give up some pretty big plays in the running game. I referenced that the Bills were 31st in the league in yards per scramble allowed. Houston's dead last. On the season, they're just 10th in total rushing yards allowed to the quarterback, but they've only faced 52 attempts. Everyone else that's in the top 10 outside of Buffalo, who's also awful, has faced at least 64. So they just have not faced a lot of volume. So their raw counting numbers are not something you're like, oh, there's an opportunity here. But again, they're so aggressive. They're going to create a ton of pressure here. So they're going to force Drake May out. We saw, just him, 37-yarder, right? He went over on this in one carry last week. So we're just going to see a ton of him running. Again, I think 13.5 is the longest play you can play. No problem with that. This was his debut really last year. And I think it's his first real start. And he ran 5 times for 38 yards against the Texans as well. So he's going to get flushed out. We're going to get at least one big one. But I think overall he probably gets to 40 or so again.
So the Sharp Stack system loves Woody Marks under even 55.5 rushing yards as its top play, but I've already taken that one off the board. So sorry, computer, we need to go to your number 2 play for this game, and that is going to be an over for Trevion Henderson, 34.5 rushing yards in this game. There's some bizarre ones for him here. And now I know he's awful in pass protection a lot of the time versus Ramondre, hence why you see so much Ramondre on the field in some of these passing downs where you're like, isn't this guy like super speed, man? Like, get him into space, good to go. His receiving total in this game is 6.5 yards. His reception total is 1.5 receptions, and it's juiced like plus 125. I thought that was kind of surprising. Like, if they need a knockout punch or a home run hit, like Trevion in the receiving game is where they want to be.
It's been Ramondre.
I know.
Ramondre's been so good. I think did you play it, Connor, or you were gonna play? Because Trevion's not even running routes.
He ran 8 routes on 39 dropbacks last week.
Yeah, surprising.
Which is crazy. I don't know why. I don't get it either. But yeah, so I was leaning under initially. We didn't play it because under 1.5 receptions is like minus 160 now at this point or something like that. But I do think that there is room on the yards though. If for some reason that flips, or maybe he just catches one, like a screen, something like that, you can play like some alts on the yards. I don't think that that's a bad look. He's just not going to have a big workload, to be honest.
Yeah, he was 1 for 9 last week, then nothing against Miami and the Jets, 1 for 9 against Baltimore, 2 for 13 against Buffalo over the past 5 games. So he has gone over it. Every time that he gets a catch, he goes over this number. So 6.5 is pretty low, honestly.
Yeah. I'm with Connor. I would take an alt, right? So if he catches one, it's probably going to be, 9-10 yards. So might as well, take a bigger play, take a plus number. But yeah, I'm surprised, but like Ramondre's been so efficient too, right? So it seems like from a design standpoint, it'd be really hard to get away from that. But I mean, they're both utilized in somewhat the same way. I don't think that they're like earmarked for specific, necessarily like, oh, this is our passing situation. I feel like they've been really happy with the improvements that he's made as a blocker. So keeping, Henderson in, I don't think they're necessarily scared to do that anymore. So, I would take an alt if you're going to chase this.
All right, well, I'll just throw it on for the underdog portion of this for purposes. We'll go Woody Marks under rushing yards, Higgins under receiving yards, May over rushing yards, Henderson over 6.5 receiving yards. It pays 12-1.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to give you a tackle in this one. I got a tackle.
Okay, I'll reuse my picks. Okay, now we'll throw on something else. Give it to me.
Tommy T, big interior defensive lineman for the Texans.
Tommy Townsend?
The
punter? You think he's going to have a lot of special teams tackles? Tommy T?
Tommy Togiai, Togiai, their interior defensive tackle. He has been playing a little bit more of late. They actually had a couple of injuries in the interior of the defensive line in like weeks 14, 15 or so. So you've seen his spike rate or his snap rate spike a little bit. And New England actually runs a lot like off guard. So a lot of their runs are to the interior. They are actually one of the better matchups for really good run stopping interior defensive tackles. And that's who Tagai is. So I have him projected for about 5.2 tackles and assists here. And I'm seeing underdog at a little bit over juiced 3.5, but with a 5.2 projection, I'm okay with that. So we'll add Tommy T to the slip.
All right, well, that gets us up to 15-1 for this play. You can ladder him up to 5.5 for the over or the under at big plus money, but if your projection's at 5.2, the 3.5 sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it feels a little bit safer too. So
yeah, and we're throwing this on as an extra leg. Always the Connor, anytime that you can be like, whoa, that sounds like a free extra leg, throw that on. That always works out.
Yeah, it's never failed in the history of parlays. The free leg always wins. That's the rule.
Sharp Stack has some takes on this LA Rams at Chicago game. You guys are in Chicago. I was dead wrong. Gus was like, yeah, they'll be practicing outdoors. Like, there's no way they'd be practicing outdoors in like Arctic conditions, but no, they are without heaters. So expect to have some guys banged up for this game if you're going to be tackling outdoors all week, but good for them getting acclimatized to everything. The Sharp Stack system enjoys, what's the best one they have here? Oh, Ricky Bullets just jumped up to the best play on the board of under 32.5 receiving yards.
Ricky Bullets.
Colby Parkinson, under 21.5 receiving yards for this game. I don't love this one personally, but the computer likes it, so it's top pick.
It's going to be cold. Actually, it was pretty decent the last few days, and then waking up to snow this morning and snow all day. And then if you look at the forecast for the next few days, obviously including Sunday, it's brutal. So Caleb doesn't get any flowers for practicing outside earlier in the week, but if they're out there today, a little bit walk through tomorrow, it's rough. We're talking about like single digits real feel. And then as you get closer to the lake and you get the wind kicking up, it's going to be cold. Obviously I know that the Rams aren't made up of a bunch of guys that are from Southern California necessarily, but they certainly live there for part of the year now, and they're going to get kicked in the mouth with how that's going to feel there. It's going to be pretty cold.
Connor, how do you feel about Stafford in this game playing in these conditions?
Yeah, I think he'll be mostly fine, to be honest. I feel like Stafford is someone who's kind of like, I know the narrative, like the win-loss, he hasn't done well in the cold and all that stuff. I don't know if I fully buy that, to be honest, but I mean, I think there's certainly some aspect of like, this is by 15 plus degrees, the coldest game he's ever played in his NFL career. I mean, this is a lot. This is way colder than anything else he's played in, and which matters. Like it is hard. It hurts to go outside. Like it is not comfortable. We're seeing like just crazy weather. So Stafford, the problem is the matchup is really good. The Bears corners are either injured or the slowest people in Chicago, which says a lot. And their run defense is banged up. Like TJ Edwards is not going to play. And so there's a lot of different angles you can take with this game. It's one of those tough ones, because if it was Jared Goff, I don't think he'd crack 100 yards, but like Matthew Stafford, I mean, he's built like someone who should be able to play through weather.
He is one of the. I don't think it's misleading. It's just part of the context that I think that people forget about this Noonan. And I don't think he's going to play as well as he would in optimal conditions. I don't think it's a hot take to throw out, but he played in Detroit and LA for his career. So all of his home games have been outdoors. So anytime he plays in these conditions, he's on the road somewhere, which is very meaningful.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if this was like the meat sweats version of him when he came out from Georgia, right? When he was just, he just constantly carried a little bit extra weight, I feel like he'd be more ready for this, but like his body is acclimated to Southern California weather. I imagine he's not like back at the homestead in Detroit, Michigan, where again, in the summer doesn't matter, but I think it's going to impact them, which is definitely brings the game closer to the Bears side. So I think Bears 3.5 is pretty interesting.
I like Bears 3.5 here. I think the Bears have a legitimate shot at winning this game. Let's not forget the Rams haven't looked good for a month.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agree.
The pass defense has been letting up like explosive plays at like a crazy rate, and turns out that's basically all the Bears are good at. So it's a kind of a tough matchup for the Rams, to be honest.
So that actually brings me to my top prop of this game is Caleb Williams over 34.5 longest completion.
It's fun. Just takes one.
I mean, yeah, even if there's a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter, you're probably good for it. You'll get it at some point or another. You need a 6-yard check down. You get a 30-yard pass. You need a 30-yard pass. You're getting, a 40-yard pass. It's whatever Caleb Williams needs. He's just going to throw further than that. It might be incomplete. It might be picked, but it'll be long.
Yeah, unfortunately, the pick doesn't count for the longest completion because he would have hit that very early against the Packers last week with that 4th down play, which I still think was kind of a genius move. I don't know why the Green Bay defender caught the ball. Makes no sense to me.
It was an arm punt. I was at the game and I was like, why did he catch this? It was wild. I mean, he could have just batted it down and gone on with his day. They would have got like 40 yards back.
When you're in the moment, you're a defensive back. The ball's coming right at you. I get it, right? You should be thinking about down and distance, pre-snap, and all those different things. But you only get a handful of those opportunities all year. The ball's coming right at you in the playoffs. It's really hard to step aside and push it down, right? It's just kind of your intuition is to catch the ball. It's coming right at me. So
it is, but I think this is where someone like John Harbaugh helps the Giants in that regard, because whenever you see the Ravens, in my mind, over the past 15 years, are the optimal team of maximizing yards gained back on an interception and what to do in these circumstances. And this part of coaching, we don't really know who is implementing this, who isn't, who's making this a focal point. Belichick was always the best at these little minutia things throughout the course of the game and making sure your players are prepped for it. With the most famous example being that route was it Browner who ended up with the pick? What's that? Yeah, Malcolm Butler, his interception against the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Just hey, we practiced this route. We know what's going to happen. Harbaugh seems, at least of the current coaches active, Noonan, the best at preparing his defense for what to actually do in different circumstances. I
agree. Yeah, I mean, you almost need a leader on the field too, where someone's talking about that in the defensive huddle when the play's called. Situationally, you just kind of have to know that, and that has to also be done in meetings where you're thinking about it. Because again, that ball is snapped. You're probably not thinking it's just a random play in the middle of the game, early part of the game. You're not thinking the ball comes at me, knock it down. So so where coaching matters. I think coaching in football matters more than any other sport. Baseball, it's they got these dudes in uniform. What do those guys do besides walk out at the beginning of the game and hand out the lineup card? They make them play dress up. So football, coaching matters a ton. And the Harbaugh angle, I think, is a good play.
Should we flip a coin to see who gets the Blake Corum prop?
Yeah, let's do it.
Noonan.
Blake Corum over 43.5 rushing yards. This is right on his season average, but obviously doesn't tell the whole story because he really wasn't involved much at all in the first 6 weeks. He has topped this in 6 of the past 7. The only one he didn't, he left in the first half against Atlanta, which Connor and I were on that play, of course. And then obviously Chicago has struggled against the run all season. 28th in rush D DVOA, 29th in adjusted line yards per carry. Blake Corum leads all NFL running backs in rush DVOA and EPA on the season. He is 2nd in success rate, 3rd in yards before contact per attempt, 6th in explosive rate. He's awesome. And we are just as consistent run of him getting 9 to 12 carries. 43.5 is just too light. So continue to ring the bell. That's why we all want it. I don't know why we're still here. And it was 45.5 and someone took some under. So thank you.
So he's 2nd in success rate. Well, he's 1st amongst guys who actually get the ball. Sorry, Hunter Lupke. You're ahead of him, but that's okay. Do you know who number 2 is in that metric in success rate?
Kyren Williams.
It's Kyren Williams, yeah. So maybe it's just more you mentioned the adjusted line yards. I feel like it's really the Rams O-line here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some of the other stuff, though, too, missed tackles forced, yards before contact per attempt, explosive rate. That's where you see Corum kind of separate himself from Kyren, but Kyren's good, and the offensive line's awesome.
But even when you talk about things like missed tackle rate, Connor, when you have a good offensive line, it affords you the time to be able to visualize the field a little bit more too. I would think that those things go hand in hand a lot of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also the Rams, the last 6-7 weeks have played 13 personnel. So 3 tight ends on the field. They've had multiple games where they played over 60% of their snaps in that. They are going to just be dominating the front because the Bears, had to have Noonan here, have played with 5 defensive backs, so like smaller guys, over 90% of their snaps so far this season. So like there's the big debate, with Greg Olson, I don't even know, maybe a month ago of Seattle, like how do they match the Rams heavy personnel? So if the Rams have 13, 3 tight ends on the field and 1 wide receiver, do the Seahawks come out with, some smaller guys, or do they have, just like you put in an extra linebacker? The Bears just like I don't even know if they have an extra linebacker at this point. And they've played with a bunch of smaller guys anyway. So I would not be surprised to see the Seattle Seahawks come out with like 13 as like their primary stuff, and then just jam the run with Kyron and Corum like all game in the freezing cold, and just go crazy on the Bears.
Well, the Rams, I mean, the Seahawks might do that too, because Arroyo is expected to be back for them too. That's something we didn't really touch on. His over-under is set at 0.5 reception you're looking for.
I don't mind that.
Could be a use check Arroyo first down for first touchdown if you want to take either side of that game.
Use check Arroyo. There you go. Anytime touchdown parlay. I love it.
Oh, I like that. Let's figure. I'll figure that out. Well, this prop hasn't dropped yet, Connor. I figured it was going to be your pick from this game, but I don't see any book with it right now. Puka 1.5 visits to the blue tent during this game.
1.5 visits. Blood will be drawn and still finishes over 100 yards parlay. That's what we need.
Yeah. That is the optimal like anti-correlation same game parlay if you're looking for it. But what is your top prop here?
Yeah, or any Woody Marks tent stuff. I mean, that's like he's a borderline lock to be in the tent at some point. Top prop for me today, kind of going along what we said there. I'm going to go with Devontae Adams under 4.5 receptions. He was used a lot early, but he didn't really look right in the game against the Panthers. I think the play volume and passing volume was obviously massively inflated because, I mean, the Panthers gave him a big run for it here. As I already talked about, I think that the Rams go super run heavy in this spot. I think that they jam the run. And if they're in a lot of 13 personnel, that means 1 receiver's on the field. And traditionally, that's been a mixture of Puka, Adams. Without Adams, it was like Kanata Mumpfield got some snaps there. Tutu's gotten some snaps there. So, like, really, I think we just might see less receivers and more tight ends, honestly, for the Rams here. And so that leads to just like basically a pure volume play for Adams of could he catch 2 balls, 3 balls, even 4 balls? Sure. 5 balls just seems like a lot in this point where I don't expect, a pass volume ceiling in the cold and a lot more other factors there.
And you could take the over on his targets if you wanted to do the anti-correlation parlay too, because Noonan, if they get on the 1 yard line, they'll give him 3 targets until he catches a touchdown.
That's true. I actually like I had it on my list. I was going to talk to Connor about it this afternoon. I think the Adams under 4.5 is actually a pretty good look. He will get fed. So I love that you can pick on the targets thing on underdog, which is a great look because that seems to be their go-to. They love throwing just that corner fade to him on the goal line. Can I get your guys' thoughts on this? These are thin, but talking about them running heavy, maybe a little bit less of a passing game from the Rams. They obviously want to still get the ball to their best players. We saw 3 carries from Puka last week. 3 carries, 14 yards. He's lined at 2.5 rushing yards.
Well, throw it on. That gets us up to 20-1 for the same gamer.
Yeah, right. I mean, they gave him the ball 3 times, like 2.5 rushing yards. Just one little, jet motion, one little end around, one little option. We didn't touch the ball once.
Well, how about this? Do you prefer, Connor, the 2.5 rushing yards for Puka or 1.5 rushing attempts at plus 125?
Probably yards. I think probably yards. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Well, what would you prefer?
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't take 1 step forward on a bubble screen and he's behind the line of scrimmage, and then that's all of a sudden a rushing attempt.
That's true. Actually, so one of his rushing attempts last week was the touchdown that he scored where it threw a screen, but he threw it backwards. So it kind of just a 5-yard rushing attempt. But if he gets tackled there, then it's negative yards. Two rushing attempts is probably safer, but yeah, probably 2 rushing attempts, actually. You talked me into it. Maybe he gets tackled like for a 5-yard loss or something like that by accident, or like the end around, it just gets like chopped in the backfield. So I don't know. Maybe the 2 attempts is better.
So Puka over 1.5, right? And you get an extra 25 cents on your money by taking the rushing attempts over the yardage. He's gone 2 or more rushing attempts in 3 of the past 5 games as well. So let's do that. Let's go 1.5 rushing attempts. Throw that on. That gets us up to 25-1. So that's even better. Puka over rushing attempts 1.5. Devontae under receptions 4.5. Corum over 43.5 rushing yards. Caleb over 34.5 longest completion, and Colby Parkinson under 20 0.5 rushing yards, $50 pays $25.50 on that front. Fellas, I think we did pretty well on these. What are the chances we win all 16 of the plays that we gave out? 100%?
Yeah, basically. What do we? It's just like in America, we raised the prices of or dropped the prices of prescription drugs by like 1,000%, which is awesome. The things that we do over here, I think there's like 1,000% chance that this hits.
I was going to say the same percent chance that Sam Darnold plays with an oblique injury.
The Darnold. I mean, what? I didn't look it up, but let's see here. What's the Darnold anytime pick number?
It's got to be like, it should be minus like one something, but
it's juiced the same on both sides. It's even money basically. It's like minus 110.
I mean, out of principle, I think I just have to bet that.
I can't find any of these Elijah Arroyo numbers. That's too bad. They haven't opened his market yet because I guess he's not officially confirmed for the game. But if you did do a use check, I would assume that the use check and Arroyo anytime touchdown numbers are probably right around the same. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm seeing it some like really bad books, like 6-1 on Arroyo.
And what is it for use check?
Let's see here. I don't even know if they have use check out. They do. Okay, 8-1 on use check. That's on a couple of different shops, like more publicly, and then 6-1 at that same bad shop. So you might even get a better number on Arroyo, to be honest. So you probably get, I would guess, around 7-1 for Arroyo, 8-1 maybe, and then 8-1 on use check when it's like a little more widely available.
So let's see here. Let's see if I can play this on Cool Bet right now. TD scores. Let's go. Anytime touchdown. Do they have Arroyo on the board? They do.
Oh,
total. I'm sorry. I was looking at 2 or more touchdowns. I probably don't want to do that. Maybe I do. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe you do.
It pays like $1,000,000 to 1 if it hits. Yeah, plus 662 on use check. And where is Arroyo? They had Arroyo on the 2 touchdown list. I don't see him on the 1 touchdown list, unfortunately. They need to update that for me.
They know he's scoring 1 touchdown.
Yeah, they don't. It's a free leg. It's like the Tommy T tackle play. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Arroyo was 22-1 to score 2 touchdowns, which is about the same. So it'll be like 6-1, 6-1, or 6-1, 8-1, 6.5-1, 8-1. So whatever that ends up paying as a parlay, that would be what? Yeah, we'll figure that out later. But I'm going to end up playing that. That's something that I'll play. The anytime touchdown parlay for Arroyo and Juszczyk. I'll play both those guys as first touchdowns in that game too. Give me a sweat on a Saturday night. It sounds like a lot of fun. And then it'll be Zach Charbonnet.
That'll be awesome.
All right. Hey, Pat, I know there's, times in the summer where there's little gaps in content, right? You got to fill the week up a little bit before you take off. We need to do a show where we ask Connor where different muscles and bones are in the body and just see what he knows and what he doesn't know. I think it would be, it could probably be a half an hour, but I think it would be electric because the things that are on the table, considering that oblique was something he didn't know, I think there are a lot of options here for what we could do here content-wise. So I really need to know.
We could get Connor versus Dr. Cust in Human Anatomy.
Yes, it'd be amazing content.
Oh, that'd be great. I got like 4 down, hammy, quad. That's it. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, quad counts as 4 because there's 4 of them.
Well, there you go. See, I don't know. I got a labrum, tore that. That's about all I know. So, it's a bunch of different things anything that I've hurt, I know where it is. That's about it. But I guess that's a couple parts of the body. We'll figure it out. This would be a good segment though.
Aren't there multiple labrums on your body?
There's in your hip and in your shoulder. Cause I tore the shoulder. I haven't torn the hip. The hip sounds way more painful.
Yeah, I tore my labrum in the 11th grade and it made my baseball season pretty bad. In the old throwing shoulder. But yes, there are 4 labrums.
Did your shoulder pop out? Did it stick out or no?
It didn't. When I was a kid, my uncle swung me around by my arm when I was like 3 years old, so I can do this now.
Oh.
Ooh.
I can like pop it in and out. So that probably didn't help matter. Although it does give me an amazing amount of flexibility, so I can chuck a ball a mile. You think it would strain it, but just where I can like almost dislodge it, I can get so much torque on the way back.
Good torque in the golf swing too, right?
Yeah.
Get that turn. Yeah.
For a little person, I drive the ball very far. Jared can confirm that.
Noonan and I are working on our drives. We're, getting ready.
Well, Noonan should. He's going to Pinehurst. Like I said, I did that trip last year, and I finally got to play number 2 because I played it in March as well. And you think like, hey, North Carolina, nice weather. It was 33 degrees Fahrenheit when I stepped on the for tee at the famous Pinehurst number 2, and I could not have played worse. I shot 97 at Pinehurst number 2, not because it was hard, because I couldn't feel my hands, and it was hard, so that also didn't help.
Yeah. It's, North Carolina in March, there's some variables for sure. We typically stay in the Southeast in March, and if, mostly had some pretty good luck weather-wise, but this is the furthest north we've been. We've mostly been, South Carolina. We were in Alabama last year at the Robert Trent Jones Trail. So, yeah, we're a little further north than we typicly are, but, yeah, Tobacco Road, playing
do it when you show up. I didn't do it when I got off the plane before we went to Pinehurst, and two of the guys in our group did. They were like, it was better than any of the Pinehurst courses.
Yeah, no, we're doing Pinehurst. We're doing Tobacco Road on the day we fly in. We're going straight there. So I made Connor play Pinehurst number 2 on the sim on Wednesday night with me. So again, on the sim is so wild because the whole thing is about the greens, and on the sim you just don't have to really mess around with it. But still, some good shots. Careening off into the short grass or into the bunkers and navigating the wasteland and the wire grass. I'm pretty excited about it.
Just remember to attempt the Bryson shot. I tried it and it did not go well.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Rory putts too. Obviously the pin placements will matter a little bit, but I definitely will be attempting the Bryson.
Yeah, you can attempt the Rory putts, but they're not going to be running 14 on the stimp. So
that's true.
It's going to be a little bit different, I would imagine, the conditions that you'll be playing it versus the U.S. Open. Do you have number Pinehurst 10 on the card? Because that was easily my favorite.
It's the only one we don't. So we're playing 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then
4 is good. 4 is a lot of fun. That was probably it went 10, 2, 4 for me.
Okay. Yeah. So the Cradle. And
Cradle
then
sucks.
Tobacco Road.
Cradle
Tobacco
sucks.
Road is the one that I can't wait to play.
Skip the fucking Cradle, man. It sucks.
Played that in the sim the other night too. Throwing darts. I think I went 1 under on the Cradle. So.
Yeah, it's a waste of time is how I would throw it out. Let's recap the picks. So for me, I got RJ Harvey over rushing yards, Kenneth Walker over longest rushing attempt, Woody Marks under rushing yards, Caleb Williams over longest completion. That's my best prop for each of the 4 games. Noonan, you have Bo Nix over rushing yards, Kenneth Walker over rushing attempts, rushing yards for Drake May over, and Devontae Adams under 4.5 receptions. Connor, I got that one backwards. You had Blake Corum over 43.5 rushing yards. Connor, you have Jalil the Thrill McLaughlin over 8.5 longest rush. Kyle Juszczyk over 14.5 receiving yards. Jaden Higgins under 38.5 receiving yards, and Devontae Adams under 4.5 receptions. The Sharp Stack system, which you go to 4for4.com/Mayo right now, enter the code Mayo NFL Playoffs. You get the whole month plus all of the DFS tools, optimizers, projections, and every sport for the betting tool for $10 for the month. Code NFL Mayo NFL Playoffs. Sharp Stack's like little Jordan Humphrey over half a catch. So 1 and we're good. Juwan Jennings under receiving yards, Trevion Henderson over rushing yards, and Colby Parkinson under 21.5 receiving yards. I think this show went well, guys. I think we should run it back again next week. Maybe 2 props per game.
Yeah, I don't think 20 props was enough. So I think if we get to 40 props for 2 games, I mean, it'd be pretty electric.
Code Mayo at Underdog right now will get you a deposit bonus. Plus, when you play your first $5 pick'em entry, you will get $75 in bonus cash instantly. You're in your account. Then you can play in the Mayo Race for $5,000 giveaway on Underdog. All those details are in the description. The leaderboard is down there as well. All right, guys, you have a show coming out on the 4for4 and BetSports YouTube channel a little bit later on Friday.
Yep, we will be going live a little bit later today, 4 p.m. Eastern on 4for4 Live. Move the line wherever you listen to podcasts. Some more prop releases from us, so definitely check that out. And no off season. And Connor and I get together pretty much every week, even during the off season, to start talking about NFL draft, futures, coaching changes, all that stuff. So move the line wherever you listen to podcasts.
Well, hopefully you can afford better internet when some of these props hit. So good on you for that. What was your tackle prop again? Tommy T?
Tommy T. It's my son's down here, streaming shows and, sucking up all the internet. Tommy Togiai, defensive tackle for the Texans.
Set at 3.5 right now, but you would play it probably at plus money at 4.5.
I love plus money at 4.5. Yep.
All right, that's what we're going to do. Join the Discord, and they get that with the Sharp Stack as well over at 4for4, where Noonan and Connor will be releasing all of their plays once they put them in the official ones. These ones are for fun, but I've already played them along with all of my underdog entries. So check out the Mayo Media newsletter. That's completely free, and 4for4.com for my free article where I'll have all of this in a cheat sheet form in case you didn't make it to the end. But if you did make it to the end, you're already here, so you already know what the picks are anyway. So good on you. Thanks for tuning in. Smash the like on the way out, and we'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!